Well, there have been breathless developments that have been taking place in the state of Maharashtra when it comes down to the political crisis as it unfolds. Viewers, the latest is the Aghadi huddle. All eyes on NCP leadership meeting with Uddhav in the evening. Sharad Pawar, Praful Patel, Ajit Pawar, all of them meeting with Uddhav Thackeray. This meeting seems important in the wake of declining numbers from the Uddhav camp. Admittedly, Shiv Sena has just 16 MLAs. Meanwhile, sources in the NCP say that it is more or less becoming clear that majority of Shiv Sena MLAs are with Shinde. Every day their numbers are going up. Sources say that NCP senior leaders believe that dragging the matter further would only embarrass the Mahavikas Aghadi in the situation of a floor test. In today's meeting with Uddhav, leaders to review the numbers and draw their strategy for the future. Leadership also likely to give suggestions to accept the fact and move on with the reality gracefully. Well, it's interesting developments. I want to cut across right now to my colleague Kamlesh, who's been tracking the developments and getting us the news first. Kamlesh, you know, what's really interesting in all of this is, till yesterday it seemed Sharad Pawar's advice was when Uddhav nearly stepped down was to fight it out till the last minute. Is now the writing on the wall for the Mahavikas Aghadi being left with no option but to quit, or rather, you know, seek a floor test gracefully?
The Mahavikas Aghadi is now clear, especially Sharad Pawar, who yesterday said that the final decision would be taken on the floor of the House. But given the dramatic changes in the situation and the way legally the Eknath Shinde team is strong, they've brought in certain points that would certainly not be very well suited to the Mahavikas Aghadi, especially Uddhav Thackeray and the numbers. Sharad Pawar, though yesterday said that the decision would finally be taken on the floor of the House, but the numbers are, for the Mahavikas Aghadi, the numbers are dwindling, and Eknath Shinde supporters, the numbers are growing. That's a reality that everyone has to accept. So rather than dragging it any further, and which eventually would result in an embarrassment to the Mahavikas Aghadi, there should be some decision that should be taken, that should be seen as a respectful exit plan, so that there is no further embarrassment. Sharad Pawar, in his meeting with Uddhav Thackeray, which is now begun as we speak, Sharad Pawar is going to give him a reality check. This is what the situation is. In case we want to move any further, we have to be prepared for the bigger fight, but that doesn't seem, we might be fighting a losing battle. That's one picture that the NCP wants to prove. Also, another section in the NCP says that if the battle is for Uddhav Thackeray, it is for him to save the party, but the Deputy Speaker of the Maharashtra Assembly is from the NCP, and again it would be left to the NCP to fight the battle on behalf of Uddhav Thackeray, which many in the NCP are not very keen on. Already the NCP is facing heat from central agencies. 2 of its ministers are inside jail. They don't want any further confrontation here. So they say that given the fact that we don't have numbers, the situation is not very conducive. Legally, the rebel camps seems to be very strong. They have the numbers in the first place. That numbers is something that we cannot battle. Till the time the numbers come down, which doesn't seem to be the case. Not just a big number of Shiv Sena MLAs, but also the independents are supporting him. So in that case, it doesn't seem that, you know, we are moving ahead with any solid plan at this point in time. So better accept the reality and move on is perhaps that the thought that has been decided in the NCP meeting, and perhaps Sharad Pawar might just give that idea, maybe that bitter dose to Uddhav Thackeray this evening.
Well, very interesting, a reality check, Kamlesh, that Sharad Pawar might offer to his ally Uddhav Thackeray. But, you know, how does, you know, we talk about recent developments that have happened where the writing is pretty much on the wall. The tea leaves in Maharashtra politics are clearly, you know, being read by all in terms of sheer girth of numbers that Eknath Shinde has with him. But the fact, Kamlesh, that the NCP really doesn't want to get into what it's always been maintaining, the private matter of the Shiv Sena. Now, the Deputy Speaker, like you said, is from the NCP. Kamlesh, the reason that he's not accepting the disqualification of those 16 MLAs, does it have more to do with the fact that there is a no confidence motion that has already been mooted, or to do with the fact that NCP is still mulling on what it really wants to do in this situation?
Well, exactly. That is something which the Shiv Sena was relying on. The Shiv Sena thought that the initial letter that was given by the Shinde camp, which had just signature of 34 MLAs, of which 4 MLAs were independent, so they thought that they might just see disqualification of these MLAs, since the required number wasn't there in the letter. The required number was of 2/3 majority. Anything below that would have resulted into disqualification of these MLAs. But yesterday there was a fresh letter that was given, and before that the speaker, the Shiv Sena approached the deputy speaker with disqualification notice for 12 yesterday, and 4 names were added this morning. But that one thought that the NCP and Shiv Sena missed here was there was a no confidence motion moved by the Shinde camp on 21st itself, and today 2 independent MLAs have approached the speaker saying that you cannot take a decision. They have cited a 2016 judgment of the Supreme Court of the Arunachal Assembly, wherein it says that Deputy Speaker cannot adjudicate any decision, especially related to disqualification of members, when his own position is contested. So that in a way has put the NCP and the Mahavikas Aghadi into a fix. This would result into a battle because there is a precedence in the Supreme Court. Also, if they want to move ahead, the numbers again are with Eknath Shinde, and even if in the worst come scenario, even if they disqualify all the 36 MLAs or 35 MLAs, even in that case, the number of the house comes down and the majority comes down to 120, which the BJP can easily achieve. So even in that case, rather than facing an embarrassment of losing the confidence motion, no confidence motion, and have to quit, there could be a possibility that we should think at this point in time and think of a respectable exit, which would mean perhaps to give up on what is happening